Thank you for joining us today on our North Texas garden tour. Hi, if this is your first time visiting our channel, I'm Sarah, and let me take you on a tour of our North Texas garden and we'll see what's going on during the winter. You can see this row of pots here by me. This we call our blueberry row. Every other pot is a blueberry. And if you look closely, you can see the blossoms are starting to form. We're hoping they are going to be really productive this year. This is what, their third year? Yes. This is our hugel mound, and most everything here is still dormant. It still needs some cleanup, obviously. On my other side, we've got our mint, and it never really died back completely, so you can still see a little bit of green, but it also needs some cleanup. You can see our beds here still need the winter cleanup. I like to wait till close to spring because the dead growth shelters a lot of the beneficial insect life. But you can see in here our yarrow is growing and the sage also is coming back. This is our flower bed. We like having something pretty right in the middle of this section of the garden. The only thing that's in here that's still alive is a small yarrow. This is obviously onions, and they're doing well so far. I started these from seeds this fall. We have got more onions in the next bed over. Over here we have more onions that wouldn't fit in that bed. You can see they're not as far along. I was trying to stagger the planting so they won't all be ready at the same time. We'll see how that works out. In between, I've got some tatsoi that I didn't get in soon enough, so it may just go to seed without getting very big. And then there's some red onions in here. This plant is a kiwi that I started from seed, and it was in a pot for about 3 years, and it's still alive. I don't know if it's a male or female, and we won't get any fruit until we have both. So I need to find out which it is and try and grow some more so we have both and we can get fruit. And then these beautiful yellow flowers, these are calendula. They are great for using in herbal remedies for skincare. We just started this bed last year and we needed to add fresh compost this year. I'm still not sure what I'm going to put in here yet. Over here I've got a lot of things growing in pots. Mostly that's because I didn't have a place to put them in the fall, and all these were started in the fall, so it worked. You can see we have cabbages that are starting to head up. We've got broccoli. I've been harvesting already. It's done okay. It hasn't done great this year. And there's also Swiss chard. And in between here is going to be a flower called Dara. It's supposed to be a fabulous companion for squash plants because it deters squash bugs. And behind me, you can see I've got kale and more Swiss chard and broccoli. This bed, right now we're kind of using it as a compost pile, but we will be adding finished compost on top of it this spring and starting to grow in it. Behind me here, the only thing I'm going to keep here is the green onion. They're doing well. Okay, over here, this is white horehound that has gone to seed and gone crazy. I will be taking that out, but I will be keeping the green onions. They're doing well. What you see, the dead plants on the ground, was a cover crop that died in the freeze. You may have heard us talk about cover crops before. Basically, what a cover crop does is cover the soil. When it dies, it adds its nutrition back to the soil, and it can act as a kind of mulch. Mostly it just keeps the bed covered so that you don't get weeds growing there. At this end of the bed, I'm going to put in breadseed poppies. We grew some last year and they were so beautiful. I want to do it again. And behind me, we still have some snapdragons that I planted in the fall, and a little bit of parsley survived the winter. And then in the back, we've got garlic, and in the front, we've got a few carrots, and I'll be putting in more. In this bed next to me, we've got another cover crop growing. This one is crimson clover, and most of them are just starting to come up. Crimson clover adds nitrogen to the soil, and it's also great for bees. And I am really looking forward to the beautiful red flowers. I've heard you can make tea out of them, and I want to try it. This area we call our plant nursery. On the one side, I've got mostly herbs and a lot of mostly perennials. On the other side, we have plant starts that are mostly where I put things where I'm hardening them off. This is also where I put plants that when I've started too much, or if I haven't figured out where in the garden I'm going to put them yet. This area is obviously, we call our seed room, for obvious reasons. This is where the magic happens. You can see I've got a lot of seeds starting right now. We've got tomatoes and some peppers started, along with a few other things, some celery and some flowers. Here in North Texas, we can start a lot of seeds while we're still in the winter. All these sticks in the cups here are fig cuttings. We like to grow a lot of fig trees. We love the different kinds of figs, and they do really well here in North Texas. Another thing you can do during the winter in Texas is start potatoes. Most people will start those by Valentine's Day, which happens to be today. Happy Valentine's Day. If you get them in much later than Valentine's Day, it gets too hot and they won't be able to grow to maturity before the weather's too hot. So mostly, to sum up, this time of year is good for planting. It's a really good time for planting trees. It's also really good for starting seeds and just for general garden cleanup and getting your soil prepared for the spring. Thank you for joining us today on our North Texas garden tour. We'll see you next time. Bye.